That's holy acknowledgement, man. That's holy acknowledgement, man. I'm beating down the block. I'm beating down the block. I'm beating down the block with this gospel hip hop. I'm beating down the block. I'm beating down the block. I'm beating down the block.
Hey, what's up? My name is Jay Wilson. Everybody calls me Tall J. I'm the CEO and founder of Lampstand Music, an indie label that caters to gospel and worship music, but with an edge as far as like hip hop and real soulful message type music. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Los Angeles, California.
Okay, and where do you reside now?
I live in Phoenix, Arizona right now.
Okay,
I,
that's a
I've
that's
been,
a. Go
go
ahead. I'm
ahead.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
No,
was
go
going
ahead.
to say that's a kind of a common transition from California to like Arizona and Nevada. Yeah, am I right?
Yeah, yeah, it's
And,
like 6 hours, 6 to 5 hours, depending how fast you drive or fly.
okay, so what made you? Okay, I know I'm jumping the gun. I'm going
No,
straight
go
into
ahead.
what made you decide to leave California to move to Arizona.
Well, actually, I was living in Denver during my high school years. Okay, my mother she moved us to Colorado when I was like maybe about 14, 15 years old. So we lived out there. That's where my mom grew up at because her father was my grandfather was a military uh, agent. So have it. So
Okay.
they were like military brats, stuff like that. So during my high school years, I grew up in Colorado. My mom, she was on drugs during my whole time growing up. Ended up moving to Arizona to get clean. And long story short, this is how I ended up here, coming up here. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And can you give the people a little bit of your background? I mean, for those who don't know anything about you, they just know the Tall J, the gospel
Yeah.
guy. You know,
Yeah.
there's
A
got to
lot.
be a history behind Tall J.
Yeah, it
For
definitely
the
is,
gospel.
man. Definitely is a story. Like I said, my mother, she was on crack cocaine growing up and stuff like that. My father was actually like a mental patient. He was in, the Vietnam era, and he had suffered from PTSD and schizophrenia. So it was real, you can just imagine that. There was a real volatile environment with, parents that were like that.
Yeah.
So, I grew up really poor, in the trap, around gangs and drugs, what have you. And, that was life. That was reality to me. It wasn't what I wanted, but that was what I was born into. So I had to make do just like everybody that does in situations like that. Um, I never stayed with my father really just like a weekend father thing because, of his mental health issues. His doctor would always say it wasn't a good idea for him to, even be child rearing. That's how bad his episodes were. And I can get at it to that later as I became an adult to really see it for myself because
Yeah.
I didn't understand it as a child. So it wasn't like my father didn't want to be there. He just couldn't. You know what I'm saying? He just
Yeah.
couldn't. And my mother, she was into prostitution and stuff like that. God rest her soul. Before she died, this year actually in March, but she had been clean up to 20 years up into her death in March. So, that was a blessing. But growing up, she was, into the prostitution, into drug dealing and all that. So I seen a lot of stuff, was, around a lot of different people and environments and elements, that, a lot of kids in that environment are subject to.
Um, from what you told me briefly, it sounds like you were around during the explosion of the crack era or the tail
Yeah.
end of the explosion. So how was that like
Yeah.
coming up in LA, back then?
Man, it was really scary. It was really scary to say the least. I had a friend who got killed when I was like 10 years old. JJ Green, God rest his soul. Uh, he was shot walking through an alley, man, and his brothers were involved in gangs and stuff like that, but he didn't have nothing to do with that, man. And I think, just retaliation for what his brothers were involved in. And after that happened, man, I was just scared, man. I lived a really scared childhood. I would say that just to be honest, traumatized because of situations like that. I mean, me and JJ used to kick it every day, used to go to the pool, share each other's underoos, type of friendship, man. And just to have that happen at 10 years old, man, it's just, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just crazy.
And it's sad that in the cities that a lot of youth go through the same thing that you go through or that you have
Hmm.
went through. And
Yeah.
I can relate to you a lot because my biological father, he passed away about 5 years ago now due to his active addiction.
Hmm.
And, I can relate to having a parent and not being there. He wasn't there. And but
Hmm.
for you and going through what you call what is called PTSD, actually, post traumatic
Yeah.
stress disorder. A
Right.
lot of us don't get treated for that, and
Hmm.
we're just let loose and just left to our own devices to to navigate through life like that without the mental health issues being addressed. So
Right.
I, now I know that it affected you, and you even mentioned that. So how
Yeah.
did you? Okay, now we're going to segue into the
Yeah.
Tall J of today. So how
Yeah.
did you
Yeah.
work that out? How did you
Well, I ended up getting in
your,
trouble. Can you hear me?
yeah, I
Okay.
was going to say mentally, how did you? No, but go ahead.
Oh, mentally.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think anybody that comes up in that environment, man, that breeds some type of toughness, man. That breeds that type of like just more than the survival instinct. It's like a thriving mentality, man.
Right.
And I've always used that to get to where I'm at in today in my life. I just look at those situations like, man, I made it through that. I can get through this, and I can use some of those principles and apply them to what I'm trying to do today. And I ended up, getting in trouble, going to
Yeah.
jail, looking at time and stuff like that. And while in the county, this brother used to run around. His name was Fresh. They called him Fresh, man.
Okay.
And he was always smiling and jumping around and joking inside the day room and stuff. And
Right.
I'm facing some time, and I'm like, man, I don't need nobody, jumping around and acting happy in this situation. I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
And I would approach him and kind of antagonize him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm feeling this way, man, because of Jesus Christ, who he is in my life. And if you knew him, you would have the same peace too. And, I
Hmm.
used to hear people preach about Jesus. I didn't grow up in the church. I was sent to church, but I didn't grow up in the church. And so, Jesus was not foreign to me, but I really didn't understand who Jesus was. And the way this guy was displaying it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but I needed to be irritated in that moment because that's where I knew I needed to change. And
Right.
I accepted, became a follower of Jesus Christ. I'm not one of these crazy charismatic, like Christian, super churchy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just told you my story. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
to keep it real with my approach to the gospel, and then that's
Right.
what Lampstand was bred out of. Just that edginess and keeping it real, but knowing that we have a true relationship with God and that He does care about us and He does want to use all those experiences that broke us to turn us into pieces of works of art that people can see and know that their life can be changed too.
Nice, man. I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
And it's encouraging because coming from the lifestyle that you come from, to be an example, and whether you know it or not, you're a role model in your community, I'm pretty sure. And you got a whole lot of other things going on, man. You're being quite
Yeah.
modest. We're being modest because we're starting off
Right.
with the roots of the beginning of who
Right.
Jay is to straight to the guy who he is now. But
Right.
with the person that you are now, man, you're doing some work in your community. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Oh yeah, man, definitely, man. First and foremost, I just, before I'm anything to anybody else, man, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a grandfather. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying? I'm
congratulations.
44 years old. I know I look good, but
Yes, you do.
but
I
yeah.
gotta say, I like your Kango.
Oh, thank you.
That's
Nah,
a
this
is
is the
that polo?
polo, man. This
Oh,
the
okay,
Ralph
all right.
Lauren, baby.
Well,
Yeah,
you see,
yeah.
I'm
So
blind. I got glasses on, so I still can't see,
you
man.
good. You good. I see
Okay,
you got a mean hat game too, man. So
okay,
like,
thank you,
yeah.
thank you. Yeah,
But yeah, man. Today, I just use those experience of taking care of my household first, man, before I can do
mhm,
anything else. A lot of times, I mean, I feel and I see, I know entrepreneurs get into certain situations where they invest so much into their businesses and this and that, and they neglect their family, and therein, their businesses don't thrive and be successful like they should because they neglect their family, man. So I just need to get that out the way, man. That first and foremost, my business before anything else I do is my family, man. You
right,
know what I'm saying? Is my family. Because that's real
right,
important to me that I grew up in such a broken family that now that I have a family that is healthy and thriving, that is so important to me. So important to me. But the way I handle my business is, the ministry started about 3 years ago. We're going on our fourth year next April. I used to be a youth leader at this church, me and my wife, and some kids had shown some interest in the hip hop, and they had found out somehow that I was doing rap music. But I had stepped away, man, because I had, priorities to take care of as far as life, family, job, and stuff. So some of the people found out through my wife. She
Mhm.
ratted me out that I
Mhm.
used to be a gospel rapper, and then they started checking me out. And next, I'm talking to these kids about it and finding out that they have the ability to do that too. So
Right.
I picked up the mantle of showing these kids how to use their voice by spreading the gospel through hip hop music. I come from the experience of 20 something plus years of hip hop growing up where the roots is of, hip hop. I know it came from New York, originated there and everything, and the culture and all that. So I've been able to like bridge that gap with this culture
Right.
through that. You know what I'm saying? And let them know, at the same time, the love of Jesus Christ and how he worked in my life, man. So I've been blessed with the opportunities to work with different nonprofits. My wife is heavily working with nonprofits that help out autistic kids and stuff like that. And we just
Nice.
started networking and making all these connections here in Phoenix, because it's just more than music, man. The music is just a vehicle to get me through the door to talk to these people. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
not like, people think rapping is just getting out there and then jumping on stage and buying jewelry, houses, cars, and stuff like that. But if you
Mhm.
want longevity, man, you got to be business minded about it, man. I think a lot of these new age rappers are taking that, to heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, you got to be a businessman about this stuff. I know it's ministry, but at the
Yeah.
end of the day, if I have a lot more money, I can take care of a lot more other people's needs. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? It's not just about like I want to be rich and be this like televangelist or something. I don't want nothing like that. But the more
Yeah.
money that I do have, I'll be able to take care of a whole bunch of people's needs. You know,
Nice.
I'm vested in like these school districts. There's a school district out here in Phoenix, a suburb called El Mirage, and it's a
Mhm.
school district called Pendergast School District. I was introduced to the superintendent, Dr. Lily DeBlue, uh, through a mutual friend, and she's just awesome, man. She's Puerto Rican, from Puerto Rican descent. She
Okay.
grew up in Puerto Rico and New York, man, and she became
Salute
a
to the Billy Watts.
doctor. Yeah,
Of course.
she became
Hmm.
a doctor, man. Her story
Nice.
is amazing too because she ended up becoming a doctor, and she's the superintendent over the school district, which has 13 schools in the district, man.
Nice.
So before all this COVID had happened, we were in a courtship, and I was supposed to be doing a Lampstand Music Academy where I was going to go in with the kids, and I have like portable audio equipment. I'll have to show you one day what I have,
Okay.
and I can take it into the classroom and basically set up like with the mic you got and let them record. And
Nice,
that's
man.
just basically been my niche, man. And I've been doing it with high school kids. I'm actually working. I was before COVID, working with this high school. It's a what do they call that? Alternative high school.
Right.
Alternative high school.
Right. Right.
And these kids, that got kicked out of the city high school because of whatever reason, go to this high school. So I'm going in there and I'm recording them. And this is keeping these kids off the streets, man.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Out there gang banging and doing whatever because they have an outlet through what God has given me, to help touch these kids' lives.
Right. Right. I love it, man. I love how you're bridging the gap with hip hop and gospel. I think that that's dope, and I think it's dope because nowadays with hip hop, I've seen, at 50 years old, I've seen a lot of transitions,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty certain that you have as well. And with the amalgamation of gospel into the hip
Hmm.
hop, it gives people an alternative. Like everybody doesn't want to hear the ratchet. Everybody doesn't want to hear somebody busting a ratchet. And,
Right.
everybody doesn't want to hear the misogynistic, materialistic nonsense that goes on, sometimes in certain songs. So something inspirational like that, I'm pretty. I mean, it's not. You're not the first one doing it, right?
Oh no, man! It runs deep, and that's what I was
Right.
gonna say. That people don't realize that gospel hip hop's roots really run deep. It's not brand new. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I know that they're not gospel. They're not hip hop, but Mary, Mary. I remember going to a concert
Uh
at
huh.
Radio City Music Hall, seeing Mary,
Yeah.
Mary, man, and Kirk Franklin, and a couple of other, gospel singers. But
Okay.
what stood out to me was how hip they were. They weren't like the old
Right.
school, the grandmama with the big grandma hat.
Right.
You know what I mean? They were
Right.
like you
Right.
and like me,
Right.
and they were
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
down. So
Yeah.
Christianity, the modern day Christian, I think, has transformed into the modern day, the modern day man. Christianity has caught up with the times, is what I'm saying. Like when I came up, like I said, the pastor in the front, he was the old man. He was damn near in his 70s. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Right. Right.
And all the ushers, they were older people. It was just the
Yeah.
choir or the youth choir, which I was
Yeah.
in, which
Right.
were young, and we were rebellious, didn't want to be in church. But now I understand what the institution represents.
Yeah.
Not just church, but I'm just talking about the institution of religion or theology
Right.
or
Right. Right.
spirituality, because
Yep.
that's deep, and I usually don't get too
Yeah.
deep into religion, but for the sake
Nah.
of
Nah. Nah.
for the
Go
sake of
there. Go there. I would love for you to go there because I'm like, that's the thing about it. We don't have open dialogues about it anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because especially like in the Black community, there's that stigma of like church as an institution. This is where grandmama goes and prays and pays the pastor, and then hopefully something good's gonna happen and
right,
she'll be able to get out the projects type thing. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Where you have to realize that when the culture in the day where Jesus walked the earth, man, it was under Roman rule. And if you look around the way that America is, it's created and built just like Rome. You see what I'm saying? So we have to embrace where we're at right now. If we don't, we're going to be lost the traditions of our parents. And even if people don't want to be Christians, Muslims, and stuff like that, I'm connected to a lot of interfaith people too, as well. So I'm not just like one of these blind brothers in Christ running around trying to talk about whatever way you choose to be spiritual is wrong. We got to be able to have an open dialogue. We got to be able to embrace the culture, and things will get better.
nice. You know what? I'll take your advice on that. But in regards to being broad about the conversation, I'll just say that I'm a spiritual person.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And to get into a little bit of my background,
All
I've
right.
studied Islam. I've studied and practiced, the 5% nation. Okay,
Okay.
the nation of gods and earths. I also practiced Buddhism. I
Okay.
studied Hinduism, and I practiced a little bit of Judaism. And did I forget anything? And I guess what I'm saying is that I went through all of these religions to
Mm-hmm.
find the one thing that was really missing, and that was my
Right.
God, the God of my understanding. And he
Amen.
and I, or
Yeah.
she and I, because
Okay.
the God I serve
Politically correct. Yeah.
doesn't have a gender.
Okay.
We have a great relationship,
All right.
and that's what keeps the balance in my life, where I'm able to reciprocate
Right.
love to others. And
Yeah.
what stands out and makes me feel so good about you is your story of where you come from. That's what's so significant about it, and
Yeah.
who you are, what you represented.
Mm-hmm.
You gave us a brief rundown of who and what you are, and just to come out of that environment, people like yourself, it's encouraging and inspiring for others. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm really doing this interview, because I think that you're a young man, and I don't want to put a color on you, a young man, okay,
Right.
coming from the inner city, who found his way, man, to make
Yeah.
it, man, to become, not a statistic, but an
Right.
asset to
Right.
the world, to the United States, or to the world, period.
Amen. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate
Mhm,
that. Thank you. I respect that, man.
mhm.
Yeah. So, not to like, be random about what we were talking about. I appreciate the affirmation. Like,
Yeah.
so do you have a morning ritual where you talk about your spiritual? Do you have what type of ritual do you like practice? Is there something that keeps you grounded every day that you have to do?
Great question. I'm not ritualistic,
Okay.
but I do have, like I said, it's a relationship that I
Right.
have with my my spiritual entity. Okay,
Okay.
whether you want to call him Allah, whether you want to
Uh,
call him Jesus, Yahweh, God, whatever, my
okay.
spiritual entity that I pray to and I communicate with
Yeah.
every day, and it's spontaneous.
Yeah.
Sometimes the feeling can just come over me, and it's like, okay, it's time for me to, stop what I'm doing and pray.
Right. Okay.
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 And, stop what I'm doing and think before I speak to this person a certain way, or stop what I'm
Amen.
doing and, be kind hearted when someone
Amen.
is being rude or disrespectful or even mean to me. So,
Right.
it's like a pendulum swinging. You
Okay.
never know, which way, what is going to hit. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if I stay balanced with God, my God of my understanding, then I will be able to discern how to make moves when things don't particularly go the way that I want them to go.
Right.
You know,
That's
and
nice. Yeah.
that's even in relationships with your woman.
Yeah. That's nice.
Sometimes, you know, uh, women are considered, half of our religion in some
Hmm.
religions, right? And they can be an asset to a man, or they can be a liability to the man, and that's vice versa. Okay, we
Hmm.
can be liabilities or assets to each other. But when
Right.
you're married or when you're in a long-term committed monogamous relationship, then sometimes you get very familiar with the person, to the
Right.
point where, as in, they don't understand your change or your transition into the new person that you become, and
Okay.
it takes time for them to catch up to you.
What?
And
Speak that. Yeah.
and the way that they do catch up to you is that
Right.
they watch you. They watch your
Right.
consistency. How
Right.
long is he gonna be the new Mac? How long is he
Okay.
gonna,
Yeah.
is he not
Yeah. Yeah.
gonna drink?
Right. Right.
And
Right.
how long is he not gonna curse? How long is he not gonna, smoke weed or whatever?
Yes.
So
Yes.
these are the things that women watch, not just women, but
Right.
people. They
Yeah.
watch, they watch people, and they watch your behaviors, and they watch your mannerism as well, your
Yeah.
character, and
Yeah.
they judge you based upon that. I'm at the point where, like, my relationship is so deep with God, that I
Mhm.
don't worry about how man, perceives me. It's not
Mhm.
about man's perception.
Right.
It's God using me as a vessel, and I'm
Okay.
fallible. I make
Right.
mistakes. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm Muslim or
Yeah.
anything other than that,
Right.
because I'm not living like one. So I'm
Okay.
not going to put no label on
Yeah.
any, that I'm supposed to
Yeah.
be. So
Yeah.
therefore, I just have this relationship with God, and it works for me.
Mhm.
Um, God, who know? Alaikum to Nikum. I mean, Allahu Alam. God knows the future. Only
Yeah.
God knows.
Amen.
So
Amen.
who am I to, predict what the next second will hold? But for now, I have a relationship with him, and right now he's guiding me to deal with you, another brother who,
Nice.
has a relationship with him.
Nice.
See how
Nice.
that works? It
Yeah.
doesn't
Nice.
matter what you label it, but you have that relationship, and you feel the
Yeah.
energy, and it
Right.
galvanizes. It's like a galvanizing electricity that goes through a
Right.
wire.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're connected, then you're gonna feel that current.
Yeah.
So that's what spirituality is to me: the current, the life force of
Awesome.
energy from God, man. So
I like that. I
I
like
know
that.
I gave you a
I
whole
like
lot, man.
that. Yeah, you broke it down for me. I'm like, man, you're gonna have to write that down or something, man, because that's
You
that's
asked
heavy. I
me.
like that.
You
Yeah.
asked me, and I'm gonna tell you something, Jay. I don't usually talk about religion, and that's the
Right.
first time actually I did on any type of platform.
Oh
I think
wow. Okay.
it's pretty cool. It's cool
Yeah, it
because,
is. It is cool.
yeah,
I hear
it's
because you know what I hear? Let me say this, Mac. You know what I hear? I hear gratitude, man. I
okay.
hear that you stay in a constant state of gratitude. No matter
Yes,
what you're going through, like, you take those moments even when you're having a bad day or the pendulum swinging, you take a moment to say, okay, what do I have to be grateful for? And now I'm grounded to get back to what I need to be doing. Right.
right,
And that's
and
all it
yes.
is.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
and,
bro.
and I'm sorry, bro. Just to reiterate what I was speaking about in regards to relationships, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, like I said, this is very important to me, and I think other people can go through it, or recognize what it is. Because if you're in a monogamous relationship, like I said, then you'll go through some type of friction with someone that you're so closely connected to,
Yeah.
especially your woman that you lay down next to every night.
Man.
So there's
Man,
going
tell
to
me
be
about it.
conflict. One
Right.
day she might be on her menopause, or her
Yeah.
her period, or whatever the case may be, or
Yeah.
you may be having a lack of testosterone production, and you don't know that you're going through male menopause. So
Right.
you may be giving her stuff.
Yeah.
And she's catching it as soon as you give it to her, thinking that you should know what you're doing because you're a man and you don't go through menopause.
Right.
You understand? So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's deep, man. It gets deep, brother. You
Yeah.
know, but and the gratitude piece, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You went into your story, so I think it's
Yeah.
only right that I give you some of mine. You know,
Okay.
I told you that my biological father was a crackhead at one point in time in his life before he passed,
Uh-huh.
and I tried to. I'll tell you something even deeper. I'll get right to the chase, man. I met him when I was 17 years old, and I was out there in the streets hustling. And when he came up to me, he knew I was hustling. He was with a chick that used to buy work off of me.
Hmm.
And when he came up to me with the girl, um, he said, "Hey, son, how you doing?" So I'm like, "Oh, okay, what's up, man?" And then he was like, "Yo, you working?" He said, "Yo, you working?" I
Right.
said, "Yeah, man, I'm working." He said, "Yo, let me get two of them things."
Wow.
He said, "Let me get two of them things, 2 dimes." For those
Two.
who don't know what I'm talking about,
Right.
two of
Right.
those things. And
Wow.
no, I did not give it to him. But
You
um,
didn't.
I was very
Right.
disappointed actually that he would ask
Right.
me to contribute to genocide, killing my own father, man, feeding him poison.
Wow. Right. Right.
And the reason why I knew
Mm.
not to do that is
Right.
because one of my friends, his mother was on, and I know he'll probably see this, and forgive me, bro, but I gotta keep
Mm.
it real. His mom's was on cocaine, and
Mm-hmm.
I served her a few times. Okay, now
Mm.
this is my boy, and we cool now, but at the time, he found out, and he came upstairs. He lived downstairs, and he knows I'm talking about him. And like I said, bro, I'm sorry, I apologize. So I
Mm.
served her, and he found out. He came upstairs. I just got off of work. I had jewelry and work all over the table. He comes up and, yo, bro, how could you do that, man? I said, what? He said, how could you sell poison to my mom's, man? And from there, I was like, yo, man, if this brother punched me in my face right now, and I told him, I said, yo, just punch me in my face, bro. That's how bad I felt. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't the end of me, hustling, but
Right.
um, I kind of like had gained some more morals about what I was doing. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And my father, we didn't reconcile any differences before he passed on. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So it
Right.
was it's kind of disappointing that I had to go through that. So I want to be able
Mm.
to reach younger people and
Okay.
encourage them, man, to balance out their lives, man. No matter if they have relationships that are not working with their family members, with their lovers,
Right.
wives, husbands, whatever. Just
Right.
find an inner peace. Find peace
Mm-hmm.
within yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
then maybe you won't be so angry out here, man. I don't know.
Yeah. No doubt.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So
awesome, man. That's an awesome story, man. And your journey to where you are today doing this, man. That's amazing. That's amazing.
thanks, man. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been a journey, bro. You talk about journeys. That's a journey. East to west is a journey. I'm telling
Right.
you. I think I told you the other day how I started E2W, right?
No, you
San
can refresh
Francisco.
my memory though. San
Okay.
Francisco. Okay.
I got stranded in San Francisco, 17-hour flight, and I met this sister on the tram that takes you from the airport to the waiting area.
Yeah.
So we're kicking it. I'm letting her know, look, I got a 17-hour flight, layover. I don't know what to do. So she was like, oh, they have a carnival up there, right? I was like, I already knew what San Francisco was. So I said, make sure it's the right one, So, so she sent me to the right one. I went and I had fun, man, on 24th and Market. For those who live
Right.
in San Francisco, they know what I'm talking about. Oh, man, it was dope, man. I mean, for the whole not 17 hours, but 14 hours or so, I
Yeah.
enjoyed myself. Started taking pictures. I had a little pocket camera. So when I got to
Wow.
New York, I showed all my friends and family, and they loved the pictures and stuff like that. So I started posting them on Facebook, and then from there, I was like, hold on, I'm a hustler. So I got to capitalize off of this. So,
Right.
so I said, okay, I know how to get this. I know how to get this money, baby. I'm going to
Right.
start a magazine and make them pay for it, you know? So that was in 2012. Okay. And the paper magazine game was basically fading out. You know, maybe I still will go, you know, print some, you know, some editions, whereas and there'll be collector's items, you know, but
Yeah.
for the most part, we're online, e2wmag.com, and we're a lifestyle journal. And I try to encourage people like yourself. I try to bring up people with encouraging news or informative news instead of, you know, just entertainment and,
Hmm.
you know, just a whole bunch of other stuff that I will touch occasionally. And if you do some research, you'll see that I have done shows and stuff like that. And you know,
Yeah.
like you said, you have to be in it to win it, bro. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You got
Right.
to get in the
Right.
game in order to
Yeah.
touch, you know, touch people. So that's what I'm doing, man.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I see some of the stuff on Facebook, man. I know you touch a lot abroad. Like you had stuff about the space shuttle last night, you know,
Yes.
and stuff. That's cool, man. I mean, people definitely need to be informed
Yes.
outside of just their circle of influence, man. And I think that's amazing what you're doing for real. It's
And what
cool.
you're doing is even more
Yeah,
amazing because you're touching people's soul. You know, you're able,
yeah.
and you're working with someone right now. You're working with a young guy, right?
Right. Yeah.
And 17 years old. I don't know if you want to
Yeah.
get into that story or not.
Yeah, I can get in the story about young Copus Staines. His name is
Okay.
Jesus.
Okay.
And he's just an amazing kid, man. And I know that God is really working in his life. And I see a lot of my story and his story, man. You know, his parents are from, you know, Mexico. He's an Hispanic young man. And I met him while I was working one day and topped it up with him and found out he liked hip hop. He was just coming out of trouble, just got out of jail and stuff and is on probation.
Mhm.
So he had a real troubled childhood, man, and he was living with his aunt. He's still living with his aunt, and his aunt's taking care of him because his mother's in a real volatile situation in the environment and stuff that she's in.
Yeah.
And I just taken a liking to him, man. I had him invite him over to the studio, and we've been working every week and
Right.
just trying to show him a better way, man. And he's taking it up, you know, he's taking it up. So we're gonna be working with him and cultivating him, and we got good things to come, man. He's gonna blow the socks off of everybody, man. When people hear his work, he's just hungry, man. He's mature,
Yeah.
beyond his years. I can say that, you know,
Right.
just because of the life he's been through. And yeah, he's just an amazing kid, man.
And that's cool, man. That's dope because see,
Hmm.
you're taking a leadership role. You know,
Right,
you're taking responsibility. You know, in your community. You know, it may not be LA anymore, but it's Arizona now. And
right,
wherever you go, you take you. And that's what I
right.
tell people all the time. You know, I'm from
Yeah.
Yonkers. Okay,
Okay.
there's really nothing I can do from here to assist anyone too much in Yonkers, except
Right, right,
financially help them out or whatever the case.
right,
But
right.
you know, as far as where I live at now, I try to make it my business to reach the community, and that's what I think is important. That
Hmm.
you know, yeah, we're territorial people. That's just us by nature. However,
Yeah.
some of us like to migrate. You know,
Yep.
my family's originally from Alabama and
Okay.
Florida. You know, they made their way up to New York. You know,
Right,
through
right.
through all that nonsense, the carpetbaggers and all that good stuff. And what I'm saying is that um, I my we how can I say change or adjust to or adapt to our environment and situation. Okay.
Right,
And that's how
right,
we were able to flourish for so long. And for
right.
those who don't like to travel and move outside of their comfort zone, hey, I don't have anything good or bad to say about that. You know, it's their life,
Yeah,
you know.
right. Yeah,
So
you're
you
right.
out there in your community doing what you're doing, I think, man, that's applaudable. And I think
Thanks.
it should be, exploited, not exploited in a bad way, but exploited
Right.
to the point where people see this, to the point
Yeah.
where, oh, look, that's Jay. Oh, okay, not Prince, not Jay Prince, but
Right.
Tall Jay. Okay,
Right.
and nothing
Yeah.
against Prince, Jay Prince, but we need more leaders in our community.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For sure, man.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I love Jay Prince too, man. I mean, but You know, that is true, man. You have to reach back. It's like I know God changed my life, man, that I can't help it. If like God changes your life and puts you in a different situation, you have to. If you don't, man, it's all for nothing, man. It's like people, you know, spend their whole lives, you know, thinking trying to be successful, and they miss the true part of success is just giving it away, man. Because we can't take it with us when we go, man. We just had that young man, King Von, get killed last week. You know, just to show you, you can't take it with you, man. You can't.
Yes.
As hard as you try, there's gonna be no U-Haul truck, you know, following me when I make that procession to the graveyard. So,
Right.
you know, it's important, and that's the environment grew up in. It's like my mom, even with her addiction, she had a
Mhm.
beautiful heart, man. I
Mhm.
mean, even with us living in the trap, I always stayed with like 6 or 7 people, man. It was like always that type of environment.
Yeah.
So growing up, you know, I was like, I'm gonna have my own space. I ain't gonna live with anybody but my wife, my kids, or whatever. But
Right.
now it's like, you know what? That makes life more fuller when we're in community, man. When we're in
Mhm.
unity and stuff like that. And that's a principle that I use today that I learned back then, man. It's just like these kids need that, man, because if I don't do it, who's gonna do it, man? That hustler that's on the corner who's already influencing them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Right.
they're just gonna end up, you know, like everybody else in that environment, man. And I just believe that God don't want me to see that if I can't have an impact there.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
it's just so wonderful. I can't give you enough accolades.
You don't
So if
have
it
to.
sounds like
Yeah.
if it sounds
You
like
don't have
you
to,
know,
man. Nah.
okay, I know
It's
it feels
just me,
uncomfortable.
man. I'm no
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
nobody special, man. And nobody, you know, anybody can do it, man.
Right,
Anybody can do it. It's just you making that choice to say,
right,
you know what, how much do I value my world? We can sit up here and judge everything that's going on in our community or environment, but
right,
are we yet to get in there and be a part of the solution, man? And that's the thing about it, man. Get in there and be a part of the solution. That's what
right,
Jesus was about. It's not about religion. Jesus was like, forget it. I'm about to go down there with these people. You
right.
know what I'm saying? And
Oh
say,
man,
hey, you know what?
right.
Somebody cares about you. That's all it is, man. That's all.
I love it, man. All right. So we got into all that.
Right.
So now why don't you tell the people more about your lampstand music
Oh, the
situation?
label.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, tell them about your label because see, that's the honey right there. That's how you get the
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what
the
I mean?
sweet spot.
That's the
Yeah.
sweet spot because everybody
That.
wants to sing or rap or whatever the case may
Yeah.
be. Music.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
do you have an actual studio? How does that work out?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you know, I'll
Yeah,
just turn it aside. You know, the way technology is today is that, you know, you can basically record.
nice.
You know, you don't really need the $100 million mixing board and station. You can have that, but
Okay,
you
okay.
know,
Uh-huh.
just with a little know-how and a little skill, you can create music like this and maybe even win a Grammy.
Ah, nice. So do you have anything, man? Like, so what are one of your projects? What are some of your projects that
Well,
you
we
have?
got the old school project coming out December 4th. I'm
Mhm.
already on iTunes and Spotify. You can go check me out, YouTube. Just type in Tall J, Google me. All my stuff will pop up. But,
Right,
you
beating
know,
down the
we got,
block.
yeah, beating down the block, man. Beating down the block. Let me tell you the story about beating down the block, okay? And this
Okay.
is a very inspirational story because it helped me, you know, overcome a lot of stuff. When I wrote that song, I was really going through a dark time. I was really having trouble in my marriage and everything, man. And it was just really a dark period in my life, man. I was
Mhm.
having a lot of internal struggles and stuff like that. So I just went into the studio about 2 o'clock in the morning, man, prayed with my head down, put on that beat, man, and that song just came out, okay? And I knew it in my spirit. I was like, man, this song is something special, you know? And I was playing it for my friends and my family. And of course, they're going to be like, hey, yeah, baby, that's a good song, you know?
Mhm.
I sent it
Mhm.
to this radio station, an internet radio station, and they have
Yeah.
this like ill or kill thing going on, right? So, like,
Mhm.
if they like the song, they'll, you know, it's ill, they'll put it in rotation and people can comment. It's live on Facebook.
Mhm.
And, you know, I sent the song in because I wanted to get critique, even though I had friends critique my song, like DJ Jam, who's my homeboy. He's Snoop Dogg's DJ, and he told me the song was hot. But this
Mhm.
little internet guy was like, "Oh man, this stuff is whack. You done
Oh
sent
wow.
Christian rap back 10 years." And
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
man, they killed it. They killed it.
Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Well. Well, we're going to resurrect it. We're going to
No.
promote it on
Oh, hold up.
youtubemag.com, baby.
Hey, that's not the end of the story though, Mac, man. Let me tell
Okay.
you this. So
Okay.
about a week later, it was supposed to be distributed out, on all the the platforms, iTunes and Spotify, which is it's out on Spotify and outside. That song is 2 years old, man. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? I did the
Okay.
song in the video 2 years ago.
Okay.
So when I sent it to the distributor and they sent it to Spotify, the curators, the editors and stuff like that, if anybody knows anything about music, and Spotify, if you're an artist, you want to get placed on playlists on Spotify. That's how people blow up, because Spotify is the trending going platform for artists and music, because you can basically control everything through Spotify's platforms if you're an artist. Okay. But we can get into all that later.
Okay.
But anyway, Spotify put it on the list
Mhm.
after the guy killed it, and I was heartbroken, crying to my wife, crying to all my friends that I'm never gonna rap again. And Spotify put it on the playlist, man. And it's like that week I was on the list with like Lecrae, Bizzle, anybody you name in gospel hip hop or hip gospel music, period. Period.
Nice.
That's how huge this playlist was. That song, Beating Down the Block, 2 years
Yeah.
ago, made that playlist. And that's why the song has done what it has done.
Nice, man. I love it,
Yeah.
man. And it's it if you don't listen to the words and you just look at it, you would think
Right.
that it was some gangster stuff going on. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
But you listen to it and you're telling a story. You're beating down the block with this gospel hip hop,
Right.
and I can relate to that because I like music,
Uh, uh,
all kinds of music. So I know that feeling when I'm beating down the block. I'm listening to something that make my head
exactly.
yeah. So
exactly.
even a
Yeah.
Christian, a person, a man of the cloth can enjoy music, man. I mean, there was a day
Right.
back in the day when you couldn't listen. I got my
Right.
ass beat for listening to him. My pops,
oh
rather.
man, really?
My stepfather used to, pop me upside the head, man, for listening to rap in the house, man. When Run DMC
What were
first came out, oh man, it was terrible.
what were your parents? You said your parents were in church?
Yes, yeah.
What were you, Seventh-day Adventist or
No, they were
apostolic
Christian.
or what?
Straight up
What
Pentecostal.
denomination?
Uh,
Pentecostal.
no, not Pentecostal. Pentecostal, I think. Pentecostal or
Oh
something.
yeah. They're real strict, man. No
So
watching. Yeah.
I couldn't. I had a picture of Vanity Six, man. In my, I snuck it in the house. First of all,
oh man. Wow. That's
I
crazy.
put it on my wall over my bed. Okay,
Right?
my
Yeah.
mother had no problem with that, but my
Uh,
pops, he was like, "Boy, you gonna get that out of here." And I'm like, how you gonna shatter a boy's dream? I just wanted to be with Vanity Six, all three of them.
oh man, that's
you
funny.
know,
Yeah,
so
that's funny.
I like how the evolution of hip hop has taken
Mm,
newer heights though in regards to the youth today.
yeah.
I don't really listen to a whole lot of what's going on today because it all sounds redundant. But I like how
Yeah.
they're taking control of their art and
Hmm.
from their homes, like you're doing now with your studio
Hmm.
inside your home. Man, these cats are getting
Hmm.
rich. Everything
Yeah.
is viral now. So that's
Right.
why with the adjustment that I spoke about earlier is
Hmm.
something that people have to be able to do. You have to be able to adjust to the times. And a lot
Hmm.
of us old dogs don't like to do that. We think
Yeah.
that we still
Yeah.
living in 1967 or whatever. This is
right. Right.
2020, man. These
Right.
young
Right.
cats are showing us how to do it, so we need to take advantage of it.
Exactly.
And like with people like yourself who are in the industry and teaching the youth how to do these things, man, I think that you're giving them a jump start in the game, where
Hmm.
they can get some guidance in that aspect in the music
Right.
industry and not
Right.
get used, because I know
Yeah.
back in the days,
Yeah.
dudes had studios and they would charge you whatever, whatever, but you wouldn't really
Right.
feel satisfied like you got your money's worth. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So
That's
how can the people reach out to you to get involved with what you got going on if they wanted to?
Oh, you can always reach me on Instagram at lampstand_music or lampstand music group at any of my other social media. You put in lampstand or you put in Tall J, you'll be able to hit me. Our
Right.
website, www.lampstandmusic.com and stuff like
Right.
that. And just, you'll be able to see some of the stuff that we're doing, man. We're just all about spreading that goodness, man, that good vibe. you
Hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Good vibes, baby.
are you looking for artists?
You know
How's that
what?
working?
Maybe after the new year. Maybe after the new year. I really am focusing now on getting Copa's project out. You
Okay.
know, because he's the one that's carrying the mantle. He is the young
Right.
man. He's the one that's going to have to hold it down. So
Right.
we're going to get him off the ground. And then after the new year, if you got some stuff, you guys can holler at me, email me, lampstandmusicgroup@gmail. If you got some projects, make sure you have some projects though that I can hear about. Don't send me no, a recording of you in the bathroom or something on the MP3.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to have a link. You have to have a
Right.
link to SoundCloud or something like that. Send me that and I'll check it out.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So, so what else do you have for the people, man? Because I definitely want to do something else with you. I don't want
Right.
to feel like we
Oh
have to
yeah.
cover everything in one interview. But the fact is, I
Yeah.
want you to just let it go right now, whatever you have, and we'll pick up on another interview. But what do you
Okay.
have for the people, man? Young or old? What do you have?
Yo, girl. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
man. Just to talk about this project, since we're
Yeah.
talking, about the old school project. How ironic we're talking about the youth and being old and stuff.
Mhm.
But it's a lot of wisdom that we can impart being older, man. It used to be a curse to get older. When we were younger, like, oh, old man, old lady. And now we're
Yeah.
them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? The
That's
youth are
true.
doing that to us.
Yeah.
But we can still be relevant because just think about like with this election and stuff, not really getting into politics, but just thinking about that the people have chosen maturity. They have chosen age. So that shows you a lot of times that you have to go back to the roots of things, to the foundation of things, to see where you can go further in life.
Mhm.
A lot of people sometimes stay stuck in a rut where I used to stay stuck in a rut because I figured like I can't change because I'm too old. I can't do this because I'm too old. But I put
Right.
that limitation on myself. And when you're older, you can impart a lot of wisdom to these younger people, man. It's cool to be old. It's a
Yeah.
blessing to be old. And that's why this project is so pivotal because some of the artists that I have on there, Copa Staines is probably the only young buck on there, but everybody else is like 28 and up. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying on this project. And it's just because we want to show love, we want to show unity, man, and that's what this world needs right now, man.
Right.
We're
Right.
hurting so bad, man. And I mean, this is the new normal of how we're gonna do business and how we're gonna do all this stuff, man. So getting with like-minded people with like yourself, man, to just think of creative ways is just how we're gonna make it, man. How we're gonna make it. So that's what I'm kind of up to right now, man. Networking, more
Nice.
networking, man. That's a key word in my space.
Right.
Is networking because it's okay to make friends, man. How about
Yeah.
make friends
Yeah.
and make money at the same time? That's better.
I
You know what
I
I mean?
love it.
Like,
I
you
love
know
it.
what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing the matter with that. It's
Nah.
good to be comfortable. And like I said, the whole aspect, and you look at me as a gospel artist to like make money, you talk about money and this and that. It's like, well, you can do more if you have more. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like you can't do anything if you ain't got nothing. What I look like preaching the gospel to somebody, I'm raggedy. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I'm doing this on an Obama phone or something like this, and I'm trying to tell you how God is blessing me and being good to me. You're gonna look at like, man, how he been blessing you? You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like, that's where we talk about the tools and the culture and stuff like that. Like by me dressing this is me. This is authentically me. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to
Yeah.
be somebody that other than me. You know what I mean?
Right.
But this
Mhm.
resonates with people because they can look at me and might expect me, oh, he might be a thug, or he might be this and that. But when they talk to me and they see my heart and they see my actions, it
Mhm.
goes against everything else that they believe because they see me in a different light. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? This is just to get the people's attention and stuff. It's funny because, really authentic. I'm really a transparent person, Mac, and you'll find out about me. So I went to the dentist today and I was
Mhm.
talking to them about getting a grill, okay?
Oh,
And
nice.
they were like, why do you want to get a grill? And because I haven't told the dentist I do music and stuff like that. He's my dentist. We have a relationship. He knows about my family and kids and stuff, but not.
Mhm.
So I said, I want to get a grill. And he was like, okay, we'll do the measurements. And he advised where I can get it, if I want to take it in, or if I just want to have the gold caps over my teeth and they never come out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I just been thinking about that all day, like, you know what? Because it's just like a part of it, to get these kids' attention, people's attention. Like, man, you know what? It's cool. You can love the Lord and you can
Mhm.
love the culture. You don't have to divorce the two, but you have to learn how to integrated into a way where it's going to be an expression of everything you do, man. So you don't have to be preaching to people. They see your life as a sermon. People will see your life as a sermon. We don't need everybody running around here preaching and beating people over the head with the Bible 24/7 when they can look at your life and see the actions that you do and say, hey, man, that dude, man, God must be real. If he been through that and he's doing this, God must be real. So I want to try God too, because maybe
Right.
he can help me out with what I'm going through. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's all about. You know, that's what the Old School Project is. I have a very beloved friend who's on the album, and his name is Dirty Red. And you guys, please check out his track. It's called FTMH, for the Most High, which means for the Most High God. So that's what we call the song that. And Dirty Red, at the age of, I believe, 8 or 9 years old, man, was struck in a car accident. And he's a paraplegic, man. He's stuck in a wheelchair, man. But this guy has not used that as an excuse to let his life lay down. He's a believer. He has a bachelor's degree. He's working on his master's degree in social studies. He's somebody that I believe you should have on this show as well. But he's just overcame so much. And so he's a rapper too. He's a gospel rap artist here in the community in Phoenix, Arizona, man. And we've been made this courtship and this friendship, man, because he's just an awesome guy. You might think I inspire him, but he inspires me more, man. Just sitting around him and talking to him. And it's like he's not using his disability as an excuse, man. And we got people who have use of their full limbs, who have use of their full mentality, and they run around here with excuses all day long to why they can't do nothing. This man a paraplegic and has a bachelor's degree and is working on his master's degree. Nice. You know what I mean? Get out of here with that. Tell me you can't do nothing, or this happened in your life, so nobody's giving you a break. You know what I'm saying? Dirty Red is like he's top notch when it comes to it, man. And he's my brother, and I love him dearly, man. And when you hear that song, he sounds like the DOC. You know the DOC after his accident and stuff like that.
Yeah, kind of gravelly, but
Yeah, that's how he sounds, man. But he's really, if you really listen, man, he's bearing his heart, man, and giving inspiration to people, man. And he's my guy, man. And I really love doing that song. That's one of my favorite songs on the project, as well as We Stand with Sister Shelly B. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Shout out to Shelly B, my co-host on the show that we do. Yes.
Yeah. What's up, mama? But it's just crazy, man, how those connections, even that song, hooking up with Big C. Big C, what's up, baby? I got your shirts. Yeah, I got your shirts coming, baby. Don't even trip. I got your shirts coming. Okay, but so I mean, just making that connection for that song. Let's talk about that We Stand song, with everything that's going on. It happened right after, George Floyd and stuff. And I know everybody was jumping on that, but this has always been a thing that's been happening. You know what I'm saying? We know that at the age of 14, I was beat up by the police at 14 years old. You know what I'm saying? So, we know what it's like, man. And this song comes from that place, and just being on the other side of that. I do have friends in law enforcement as well and stuff like that too, because I can see it differently from that side. They're not all bad cops out there, but it's just that exception to the rule that puts those other cops in jeopardy, because we can't straighten out that. You know what I'm saying? That's something internal that they got to learn how to straighten that out. We can't straighten that out from our end. They're going to have to learn how to straighten that out from the inside out, man. And
I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
No, you want to say something?
Because see, now you galvanized me, man. You sparked something in me. And because I'm big on accountability.
Right.
That we can always do better, we can always change, and we can always make a difference. If we acknowledge that we're doing something that is wrong. And that's where you have to have that balance, man, with the universe, with God, whatever. You have to have peace in you so that you can treat others right. So I also have friends that are officers,
right.
in high places, low places in law enforcement. But I have a relationship with them where I don't see the bad cop,
right. Yeah.
But I do watch the news. So therefore I can't judge or like some people do, judge everyone for the actions of one or a handful of some.
Right. Right.
So at the end of the day, I make no excuses for the actions of no one. I'm
Amen.
just, objectively speaking, I say that we, the police, the people, we all
Yeah.
have to internally figure this thing out, individually,
Amen, man.
you know.
Amen. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's like house cleaning in your own household sometimes, man. You got to figure out what it is, what it's going to take to get your household in order, man. And unfortunately, it's on stage in front of the whole world.